back, and for all of you Ranger fans that didn't like what I have to say about episode 1, I do not pander to the masses of the unexceptional. I am here. We are talking about Quest for Player 2, your dating advice show for the modern geek in the world. And guess what? We're going to be kicking it off with convention season very soon. So some of these techniques are going to be very prevalent to you as we approach this convention season. We're going to start it off hot at WonderCon. I am Joe, phenomenal expert of everything in life, joined by Daniel Jerome, the gap-toothed warrior.
Whoa.
He has his own introduction, Joe.
Whoa, yeah. Holla at your boy, it's me, the BSG. That's right, Battlestar Galactica, a.k.a. the Gap-Toothed Warrior, a.k.a. Double E, which is Ebony Excellence. And to our far right.
What happened to that purveyor of petty?
Purveyor of petty is always there. I just had to give him his little,
What's so funny over there? Go ahead.
I've been working on my introduction to be longer. So I am Elle Tea, first of her name, from House THS, and distributor of dating advice this evening.
Oh my God, I love it!
Now, before we get into all of this knowledge we're about to drop upon your uninspired minds, we are going to start by talking about our lives. Our lives are very interesting.
Mine's boring.
No.
You smell like feet, and can you explain to me why?
No,
you smell like feet.
I went rock climbing, and the rock climbing gym smells like feet.
And now you smell like feet.
I do, but they can't smell that, so
They
it's
can't.
okay.
If this was a scratch and sniff type of episode,
It would be like Fritos.
it would be like Fritos.
Yeah.
However, I will say, the time that you had the garlicky crab
fingers?
hands,
Yeah.
that wasn't terrible.
That was horrible.
But actually, you don't smell like feet.
Oh, good.
What did you do this weekend? You always do fun things on Instagram.
I just ate a lot of food. I hung out with a friend from grad school. Cool times, and
You went to grad school? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't even go to grad school.
I went to grad school. And I have a job that has absolutely nothing to do with it. What a waste of money.
Bravo.
And welcome to that hashtag show. And you, what was elaborate about your weekend by being the pervert? What was it? The purveyor.
Petty.
Curious petty peas.
Purveyor of
All right.
petty.
What did you
Dear
do with
God.
that?
Went on 2 dates this week.
Simultaneously.
Which one was the
no,
best
not
one?
simultaneously. Oh, thank you. Good one. Actually, the second one was the best one.
Why?
Because we had sex.
Oh.
So, yeah. Now the first one was more of a let's. Get to
But
know
did
each
you
other.
not have sex because you knew you were already going on a second date that same day?
No.
Oh,
No,
okay.
no. I was like, oh, okay.
You weren't trying to just rush and be like, oh man,
I was trying
gotta
to
wrap this
I
up,
was trying to
girl.
hit a hat trick, but nope, that didn't happen. It was unfortunate.
Oh.
It was
Well, I'm
unfair.
glad it
It
worked
wasn't on
out
the
for
same
you.
day. I just went.
Oh, okay.
Well,
You
sound
didn't
like,
double
my
book. You
God.
didn't double book. Don't
No,
double book.
that's
I already
rude.
talked about my story of doing that with New Year's. That was legitimately like a Zach Morris scenario.
Oh no.
I'll tell you again for all of you that don't know.
Yes.
This is a legit Zach Morris scenario story. So I was dating 2 girls at the same time. One was kind of an ex-girlfriend. One was like a current girlfriend. And it was a New Year's party. And New Year's, I used to throw huge parties. Did you ever come? Because
No.
Steve used to come.
I go to bed at 8.
Well, we used to do huge New Year's parties at the Standard. So I would get like a suite at the Standard.
Okay.
And at the bottom level.
Oh my God, I remember this.
So at the bottom level, there was like kind of like a get-together. Then we'd have the party in our room and then the rooftop party, right?
Nice.
So the current girl I was dating at the time, she wanted to go to the rooftop party. I said, great, because we had odd wristbands because I had a suite there. We had wristbands. Then the girl, my ex-girlfriend, would come in and she'd be like, oh, no, like the party's cool down here. So I would have to literally run back up and forth. And literally, it was like a Zach Morris scenario. And it never caught up with me. Hey, Andrea Moyer, if you guys are watching, I
God,
apologize.
man.
I'm so sorry. But hey, everything worked out. But this weekend for me, it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
What did you do?
Yeah.
I went out with the person I'm dating.
Oh,
So-
okay.
The current or the ex?
No, the current.
Excellent.
I would take a lot of
You
heat if
said
I went out.
Yeah, you
it's
would.
worth to be dating.
No, we had a good time. Went out in Long Beach. Definitely lost track of time. Definitely got into some form of an argument, and for some odd reason, I remember leaving at 2, but getting back home at 7:30 in the morning. How that happened, I don't know. But that's what I do remember. That was a lot of fun.
Kids,
Well, that's
don't
a
drink
fun
too
story.
much.
I know.
I mean, there's a lot in between there, but it was a fun time.
Fun times.
Okay.
That's all we need to know.
So,
Moving on.
We are going to be talking. Actually, this episode in particular, Daniel, why don't you explain what we're talking about today?
Okay, well, today this episode is more of what we call a quack, which is questions, answers, and comments.
Zoom in on.
Zoom in and hands.
Oh, somebody did
Zoom
have a
in
really
hands.
good question actually for us, and it was, where did I see it? Who has the most success with the opposite sex? That's a very weird, like a random
Between
question.
the three of us, or just like a person in general?
I guess it's between the three of us.
What is our
What do
criteria?
we consider success?
What's our
though?
margin of success?
Is it like making it into bed, or having the longest relationship, or having the most number of relationships? Clarify your question, and we will get back to you.
Yeah.
Let us
Maybe.
know about that one. But yeah, questions, answers, and comments. You guys
And
send
confessions. I love those.
You guys sent in some questions, and we asked for them. You guys sent them in, so we'll be answering those. And for everyone else who said, I'm just not going to send in a question because I'll just do it on air.
You could do it in a super chat.
Boom! There you go. You had your option. You missed out. So that's what we'll be doing today. And yeah.
How are we going to kick it off?
Good, but it's
I like how
something they
Stephanie's
didn't
trying
go
to throw
further
shit.
in.
Stephanie, shut the fuck up before I fucking slap your lips right off your face.
Don't say things like that.
See, that's
Hey.
the thing. She's hashtag alum. So, unfortunately, the only reason she's not here now is that
I
she's
love
in
Stephanie.
Australia.
She knows all that.
That's all.
Hey, I'm not gonna comment. Remember when I picked your ass up from fucking? She cock blocked me hard, bro. Anyway, this is what people love this show for. She did. She totally did, though. There's a cosplayer that it was a long time ago, but whatever.
Cosplay does fall into one of our question categories
does,
of
actually.
today.
We're gonna stretch these questions out because I feel like we're gonna have a lot of fun answers for these.
All right.
So first and foremost, we gotta talk about some of these. I guess last week, or I don't know if it was last week, you guys asked for a bunch of questions, right?
Yeah.
And we got them. We actually got them.
Excellent.
And we got great answers for them. I'm not gonna lie to you. I haven't explored all the questions, but I will guarantee you one thing: we have some pretty solid answers. And if you don't like our answers, we're just basing it off of our personal experiences. We're not experts in the field, but you know what? We've had a lot of experience between the three of us.
All
right.
our powers combined.
So Daniel, kick us off with the first question.
All right. First question's pretty interesting. Relevant, I think, for a lot of people. How do I navigate the dating world at age 25 or older while still living at home?
I feel like a lot of people, especially millennials, that generation, they have to live with their parents a lot longer. It is expensive to move out, especially if you're in a popular city like Los Angeles, San Francisco, like Chicago. There's no way you can move out and even afford an apartment on even minimum wage or even above a minimum wage at this point.
I mean, yeah, in our generation right now, we have nothing but the returners. Like, it's okay, they went to college, they left, then right after college, they're like, time to come right back home. And that's exactly it.
Yeah.
It happens.
It happens.
It's expensive, and you're like, let me come back home. And then after that, you start building your career, and you're just like, but this is really comfortable, and I'm saving a lot of money.
I know, the saving money is the best part, because it's like when you
Time
think
out,
about
guys.
it,
They're not
no.
asking about justifying living with their parents.
No,
They're
no, I'm
asking
just
about
saying.
navigating.
You date just like you would normally. I just feel like it would be awkward to bring someone to the home. You would probably have to meet somewhere and then get creative if you want to go.
But I think
I was
society would tell us
Yep.
there is a downside because depending on if you meet a male or female, either way. Actually, and we'll take both subjects.
Okay.
Let's say you meet a male that was, pretend you're 25, that was about that age and said, I still live with my parents. What's your initial reaction, and are you cool with it?
I think it's fine, especially with college. A lot of people that are commuters, they live at home anyways, just like dating in high school. I don't know. I don't really see a big difference.
You?
I agree with you. There's a big issue there, and it does have to do with genders. If a man says it, I feel there are women that are like, no, I'm not dating him. Versus if a woman says it,
But
guys
at
are kinda
25,
like, I
though,
understand.
when you're 25, that's still really young.
I'm telling you, there are so many people where you're just like, yo, yeah, all right, I'm 25, I'm out of college, blah, blah, et cetera, and we're dating. I still live at home, though. Oh, okay, cool. You won't probably hear from her again. It happens. It happens a lot to guys.
And
It's
I
unfair.
agree with Daniel. And this isn't like a debate. I agree with one or the other. But I do think that Daniel has a lot of valid points. Being a male perspective, I feel like there's a lot more women that are harsher on that decision than there are men.
I kind of do see that too, but I feel like there shouldn't be.
Well, because women do look at men sometimes where it's like, okay.
Because you got to think about the big private. Yeah, I was going to say the provider. It's the whole kind of like mentality.
I think
of having
it's
to do
different.
that.
If the girl also lives at home, you can't complain.
Unless you
If
live at the X mansion.
Huh?
Unless you lived at the X mansion, then it's kind of cool.
But I mean, if you live
imagine.
on your
I wanna
own,
know
that's
now.
hard too. Because I feel like if one person lives on their own, the relationship can work. As long as someone has
I
their
agree with
own
that.
private room, place to live.
Well, no, you brought it up when you said the X Mansion. Imagine Jubilee going on a date, blah, blah, yada, yada. Then she's like, oh, yeah, you know, blah, blah. And
But
we can go
let
back
me
to my
ask you a
place.
question though.
It's not
Do
gonna
you
work.
think that's going to make a guy feel inferior because, let's say the female's living on her own, and it's always the guy that has to come over, or whatever it may be.
I think if you could provide in other ways and make it worth her while, it's just fine.
Yeah.
Hotel.
Well,
I mean, if you're
that's called a
looking
hooker.
for
What?
no,
What?
Man,
All right.
You're still paying.
All right.
You're still paying nonetheless, huh?
You pay for dates, right? So yeah, I think the conclusion to this answer is this. I think let's all go over our final thought.
Okay.
Daniel, your final thought is?
It takes communication, humility, and honesty. If you make sure that those three tenements of just your personality are there and they shine, I think it will work out well. If they end up leaving, they weren't there for you anyway, so who cares?
I think personally that it doesn't necessarily matter. It just really matters that somebody can be accepting of the situation you're in and really understand it, and then you go towards the future. 25 is a young age to even be thinking about like anything beyond like anything crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it doesn't really matter. Like, knowing the situation that moving out is freaking expensive, I would rather know that this person is saving up money to buy a house than living in a dingy apartment for years on end, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
All right. One
know
answer.
that-
Who wrote that?
who was-
We have a
yeah.
person
No,
that wrote that?
these people, a lot of people want to say anonymous. Only one person did not want to say anonymous.
Okay. Well, if
So,
that person
that's
has
pretty
any
interesting.
follow-up, or any of you guys have any follow-up questions regarding that, let us know.
Yeah, let's
All
know.
right, who we got next?
We got another one. This question comes in that says, my partner is popular, among the Ranger Nation, and they can't publicly claim me. I'm jealous. I think she's cheating on me.
What?
What do
What
I
do you mean not publicly claim?
I don't know what that means.
What
either.
does that
I guess they're popular in the Ranger Nation. I don't know. They have a name for themselves.
Okay.
And they're not saying that they have a boyfriend.
Is this like an AKB48
I
scenario?
was. Oh my
What does that
god!
mean? I don't
Okay,
know
so
what does that mean?
AKB48 is like the Japanese idol group of girls,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like Menudo, but for girls, and you have rotating girls that shine and everything. They are not allowed to have a boyfriend because the idea, I don't know if it's just Japan, but in Asian
same thing
cultures
with
too,
BTS.
an idol means that you're working hard to win the affections of your fans, and you dating someone means that you are no longer working to be an idol. You're taking your personal life and you're not working as hard. So you're not allowed to date anyone. And there was this huge controversy when one of these girls came out with a boyfriend, or found out that she had a boyfriend. Yeah.
See, that's the thing where it's like, I guess sometimes for notoriety's sake, and if you know your brand, if your brand is pretty much the single approachable person, then publicly you may not have to claim them. But the whole thing about, I think she's, like, I'm jealous, and it runs immediately to, I think she's cheating on me.
Okay, but she's a cosplayer, right? Do you get paid for
Wait,
being
whoa,
a
whoa.
I
Ranger
think she's not a
Nation?
cosplayer. It
She-
just says
they
my
didn't say
partner is
that.
popular among Ranger
Ranger Nation. This is not cosplay. Okay.
Yeah. So it just, like, with that being the case, I'm just
So
like,
you're
okay.
not allowed to have any relationships? Is this like weird Jedi bullshit where you're
That's
not
what- I
allowed
don't
to
know.
have like...
I'm trying to still pull, and it's like I wish they gave so much more information, but it was like, okay, fine, I'll just take your question. But I guess if you have to put it that way, they're popular, they're a personality, etc., and here they are, and they're just like.
I feel like if it's
I
part
won't
of their
tell them.
contract, their job contract, that is something like, hey, we could be together, but not
I mean,
publicly.
they're part of Ranger Nation. Like, that's a job contract.
Then
They're just
I
trying to
feel
be
like
popular.
then
They're
that
most
is some
likely a YouTuber.
bullshit.
They're most likely a YouTuber, and they just don't want to say.
To
blah,
me,
blah,
that
blah.
is some bullshit. Like, if you love someone, you should be able to show them off and be with them.
If
and
you've
have
had a
your own-
conversation with a Power Ranger, you are not dating them. Let me tell you right now. Hey, I got an email, and this is no bullshit. I got an email literally
Oh my
3
God.
days ago. We dropped a big Emma Watson story about being in Black Widow like a week
Yeah.
ago or whatever. I legitimately, no joke, I got an email that was like from a guy It sounded like a publicist originally, but it was from a guy that was like, hey, do you guys mind doing a follow-up story about the person that Emma Watson's dating, and she's very close to, like, being married to? Then I realized that the guy's name was the same guy that sent me the email. Then I looked at the person, and I was like, yeah, this is super
That's
weird.
weird. Are you trying to, like, get his own career?
It was, no, it was mainly because he was trying to, I don't know what it was, but it was very bizarre,
Or
right?
he's, like, trying to mark his territory or something like that?
Yeah, so my whole thing is this, is that I'm not speaking for all the Power Rangers, but I do know. I'm not even talking about Power Rangers. People in the community. If Ranger Nation is a thing that I don't really think it matters who you're going to be dating. That's the least of their worries.
Yeah, I would doubt that.
I don't think that that's a big deal. If they're hiding you, it is for a very specific reason.
And
you
that's
need to
probably
find
shady.
out what that reason is.
Yeah.
And
It
because
sounds shady.
It sounds super shady. So that's my advice. I personally don't think that I met a lot of people in the Ranger Nation. I'll say in your Ranger Nation, in the Ranger Nation, where a lot of people are super cool about everything. We've seen Ranger couples before, and a lot of people before. Yeah. However, I will say this: if they are very hesitant about putting you out there publicly,
they're not claiming you, man.
That's a bigger problem that you need to have a discussion with that person individually for.
Yes.
Yeah, because if it's not a obliged by contract kind of thing, that just sounds shady.
Yeah.
I do not think that is a great relationship. I don't want to pass judgment because I don't know too much about this topic.
My question is, are you even actually in a relationship? I mean, if they're not claiming you, it's kind of like, well, what's the deal? Unless it's a contract, they should be able to claim you.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
Hey, Matthew Thompson. Great Matthew Thompson,
him.
fan of the show and also a great
Doing his
person here.
acting thing.
Says a lot of low-level celebs don't want their relationships public. I think that is something that needs to be discussed. I would actually say the opposite.
Why do you say the opposite?
Because, well, depending on who the other person is.
Okay.
Well, this is a different thing too.
No, because we've seen a lot of.
There's two different ways here. A lot of. I mean, I hate using the word low-level celebs. That's a derogatory term. But let's just say that for the sake of saying that, a lot of low-level celebs don't want to discuss their relationships because those are hookups, not relationships. That's a big difference.
Yeah,
and of course they don't want that out there. If you're in a happy,
healthy relationship, you would be fine broadcasting it. You don't have to broadcast it, but you wouldn't hide it. I think that's a big thing.
The only reason I think somebody hides it is if it has to be it's a contract thing, and if it's anything else, they're just not really ready to claim you. You may not look like
He's right. Some people don't like being shady. I mean, some people just don't want to be in the spotlight. But again, they also don't want to be in the spotlight because they're just hooking up with random people. We also have to understand that too, especially with low-level celebrities. I mean, really anybody. Like I wouldn't want to be in the spotlight for hooking up with random. I don't, but I'm just saying that's not something I would want to be known for. But if you're in an actual
relationship,
I am. So it's
yeah, exactly.
But I'm saying, like, with that kind of stuff, it's like,
that's messed up.
That's messed up.
Low-level celebrities, I mean, it doesn't make...
it doesn't matter. I feel like any relationship.
I want my life private. I understand you're a celebrity. You do want your life private. If that's the case, fine. But if it's like, oh, no, I just don't want relationship info given out, but everything else is fine. I don't know. You're just making drama that doesn't need to be.
So let's comment on this subject here. What do you think about this Ranger Nation thing?
The Ranger Nation thing, you need to check up on where you are in your relationship. Find out the status itself, honestly, and then find out as to why they choose to say that, because it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, same thing, communication. If there's like a legitimate reason that they can rationalize it for, I don't know, and it's believable to you, I think it's okay, but it just doesn't sound like a real thing to me.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next.
Next question. When do you share everything with your partner? Deepest, darkest secrets and all?
Never.
No, I feel like, honestly...
Never. You have nothing to drink. It's just only orange juice. That's amazing.
I think, personally, that's something that, like, most of all that stuff is something you want to disclose. I don't want to say immediately, but it's something you definitely want to share with your significant other that you see a future with, like, at some point. Like, it's something that you definitely, I think that needs to be
But
done.
there's a time and a place. You
100%.
like, even if you're in a relationship and say, like, you decided to go study and date exclusively, a month in isn't the time to share your
Josh Goldman
deepest...
says, Elle has a closet full of skeletons.
It's true. Let me
Like,
tell you.
literally,
Just kidding.
yeah.
I ain't going to tell you.
Let me tell you, just kidding. Not gonna. I love it. Oh my god!
But there's a time and a place. I feel like you know, when you're first dating and you're mutually exclusive, that's still not necessarily the best time to expose everything.
Oh, here's a good one. Hold on. This is, I'm going to break rail here.
What do we got?
If you guys #show dated each other, would you keep it a secret?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
100%.
Yeah.
Yes. That's goes without saying.
Yeah. I feel like
I did. For a long time. I did for a long time.
That was so good.
I mean, it's on. I'm being honest with
that's
everybody.
true,
I did
true.
for a long time.
You did. Kept it quiet.
But I
That's
feel
how
like
it works.
within any work situation, though, I feel like keeping it kind of on the down low from the people you work around is really important, especially if it's a kind of like, you know, superior. What do you call?
Oh yeah, well, superior.
That's different.
Like
scenario.
that for sure. You cannot let anyone else know. People are going to speculate, and even if it's not true, like rumors that are going around, like people are going to talk.
Yeah, and you don't need everyone else in your business. That's the thing. You want to make
After
sure
we
your
just said,
business-
like, hey, don't hide your relationships. We're in this question, and we're telling
Exactly.
everyone to hide their
Everything-
relationships.
once
Everything
again,
is
it
in
depends.
a situational.
It-
Yeah, but it's
Situational.
different too because it's also a public perception of like what people think are going on.
And especially since we're on camera, like, and we chat with people openly, I feel like there would be every conversation would get derailed to talk about personal
That
relationships.
would, like, you know-
especially in America because we're interested in that. All of our tabloids and stuff versus Asian countries, like we want to make sure they're not dating anyone.
Sometimes
you
I
know?
just wish we can. I know we can't do it now, and we can't. But like sometimes I just wish we can pull the roof off and be like, this is the scenario of like stuff that's going on in our #show. It's the weirdest. It's the weirdest thing. But I do want to answer. I do want to answer this question in specific because it is such a fascinating question because when do you tell everybody everything? And I think that like mainly because that's just straight up an honesty thing, right? Mm-hmm. And people want to know that kind of stuff. So, me personally. And you guys know this. I'm a pretty reserved and kind of like I don't really put my stuff out there publicly at all. That's why when I posted pictures,
that's the first thing I was like, whoa, like are you? I was gonna ask if you were engaged because that's like a very far step for you.
December, Elle. I'm already figuring all this out.
I love December.
Doesn't matter. She's
not
watching
saying it
this.
loud enough.
We've had a lot of talks about this, but I feel that like something like that. That you want to disclose everything, that it's a harder situation to do, but I also think that comes over time. Like it's not something that you're just going to. You know what? Actually,
but you know if it's serious though. Like I feel like the first
we got
like
a super chat.
Ooh, super chat.
Before we get into super chat, I was going to use you as a great example, mainly because you have been married before.
Yes.
You have a child.
Yes.
You have a lot that I mean on the outside looking in, a lot of people don't know that. Obviously, they wouldn't know that.
Yeah.
But
Well,
is that
if you watch his interview,
My ex-wife is a person that knows all. She knows where all the bodies are buried.
Yeah.
And the thing is, and that's I think where it was like, all right, we're married, we trust each other, and that's exactly what we're doing, and that's what we kept it. And to this day. She.
I feel like I'm really going to get held to this
will
December
keep
engagement thing.
She will keep my secrets. She will keep my secrets. It's like, I keep hers, and I don't care what happens. To the grave they go with us, and that's because.
But my question to you, that wasn't my question. My question to you though was this: is that since somebody does obviously know everything about you like that. Would you give them all that information at once or over time?
No.
And when is the right time to do that? Because you've been in situations kind of like that.
You're right. I feel over time, and I feel it's some level where you really do trust this person with more than just your emotions, but you almost trust this person with your life. When you do, that's when you're able to share these things. So don't say, 3 months in, here it is, blah, blah.
Yeah.
No, because trust me, that relationship is probably going to fall apart because you're going too quick, too fast, too soon. So hold it back, give it time. I don't know, maybe it's a year, maybe it's 2, maybe it's 3.
different for
I don't know.
every couple and
Exactly.
every individual and how deep and
Exactly.
dark your secrets may be. You know, like, hey, I ate a cookie after 9 p.m. when I'm on a diet. That ain't a big secret.
I became a
But-
gremlin after midnight.
Yeah,
That's only Jezzer.
Yeah, well, there you go. I mean, no, it's true. You're right. There's the fear of, honestly, when you're doing that, because you're talking about full disclosure.
Yeah.
Before even full disclosure, there is the fear of self-disclosure. You have to be honest with yourself before you're able to just go ahead and blurt out everything to everyone else. You need to know what's important and what you're hiding and why you're choosing to do it before you just give it out to everyone else.
Now I want to go to the super chat. Maniac
Yes.
says, "Hey guys, thanks for discussing working relationships. I remember asking about that a few weeks ago. Let's talk about this for a second. Working relationships. What do you guys think about that?
It's difficult. I feel like it is kind of hard, especially as you get older. It's more difficult to meet people out in the wild. So you spend a lot of time with your coworkers, you get to know them, relationships might build. I will always advocate for no work relationships, though.
I'm not gonna lie. I agree with you now. I'm with that 1,000%. It's just not. It's just not an ideal scenario because it just gets so messy.
I'm speaking from experience. Don't do it.
Did you also had a work relationship?
Kind of, yeah.
Oh wow.
It was weird. And the thing is,
chat me up about that, Elle.
it was actually while I was working at the bar, but it was just basic stuff like training this person. Like, okay, so we were already in a relationship. This person wanted to help out at the bar, yeah. And I was just like, you can't be doing that. You can't just be like.
Did I know this person?
Might have.
Okay.
I don't want to talk about it.
All right.
Just in case, yeah. But it was just really awkward and weird. It did not last. The work situation.
Can we ask why did it have to do with work that pretty much made the break?
It was both because like obviously I'm the one that brought him in.
So
when managers like saw him sleeping on the job, I was like, oh my god, I didn't even know. Like I'm busting my ass and this fool's sleeping in the corner.
Did Stephanie Storm really say don't date / sleep with coworkers? Brian. Oh, sorry.
Whoa! No, you fucking dick! Whoa, God!
Sorry. Was that?
We're cutting that out. I don't know. Come on, man.
Allergies. I just saw him over the weekend. Cool story, bro.
Wow.
What do you think about this work relationship thing?
Wow.
I don't even know these people. I'm like that.
Don't worry. I don't know what
dirty.
you're talking about. We didn't hear anything. As far as work relationships go, wow. I agree with you guys. It's a bad idea. I know it from seeing what he went through. And I've had them before, and mine were successful, but I don't think it's a good idea. Think about it. I mean, you see this person at work, probably 8 hours a day, whatever. I don't know how long you're working there. And then after that, later, you're going to see them socially. Or if you happen to live with each other, it can be even worse. So I suggest against it. So that's my opinion.
Hey, so Matthew Thompson has a great question. This girl that I have a thing for got engaged to 2 guys in less than a year period. Both 2 months into their relationships. Talk about not giving enough time to trust someone with their life. With your life,
sorry. 2 months getting engaged? That is...
Dude, no. Run away. She's an overcommittal kind of person. Like
But that's also the dude. The dudes are proposing, or is she trying to like, hey, I want to get married. I want to get married.
Most likely the guys are proposing and she said yes, but still, I mean, the thing is, okay, 2 people, you got proposed to, you said yes to both, you only knew them both for 2 months at a time, and then after that, it's like all that.
Honest to God, I thought this question was, how much did you charge for a relationship?
It depends on what services you're providing.
It doesn't say that. But I read it that way. I don't know why. I just glanced. I literally just glanced at that. Sorry, I did not mean to derail that. That's not what it says. But I read it really quick.
$2,000 is the answer.
I read that really fast.
Dear God.
So, continue that answer because I'm sure this was a good one.
Oh God, I'm sorry.
We got derailed.
I totally got derailed. The relationship 2 months thing.
They're committing too quickly, and I don't feel that it's enough time for them to really know someone. Yeah, you may have known them as a friend, but knowing them as a intimate kind of significant other is totally different. You're gonna get pieces of them that you never would have imagined you're gonna get, and you can't get that from someone within 2 months' time, even if you may have known them your entire life. I don't think so.
All right.
So
what do you have to say?
Avoid it.
Yeah, I would avoid that too. I mean, she might be great. She might be the love of your life. I don't know. I'm not in your situation, but just based off of that alone, that engaged means she said yes, and they were going to get married. Like that to me doesn't show a lot of forethought or consideration about the future or how things are gonna go. I don't know if that's necessarily the most like stable person you want to date, but I don't know your situation, so I don't want to be too judgmental.
Yeah, it's super hard to say because maybe she's just somebody that falls in love really quickly and just wants that. Because I mean, I'm sure we've all met a lot of people that just want that marriage life.
Yes.
I mean, honestly, there's a couple here at Hashtag Show.
And I feel like...
Yeah, there are.
But women especially, like you have
women especially,
not
clock. Being a sexist. Because I'm sure there's guys here too that want that.
No, but like
I hate Louis C.K. Just telling everyone.
No, but girls especially, like if you want to have a family... it's really expensive to freeze your eggs and have in vitro and do all of that. So if that's what you're looking for, you are on a time clock. So I can't judge too hard.
True.
So the question I confused was, how much time should you in a relationship for change? I read
how much
that.
should you allow? Okay.
I read that as how much. I don't know why. Maybe I'm dyslexic. How much should you charge for a relationship? I don't know why I read it that way, but it's close.
Some Freudian slip. Something's on your
So
mind.
it's changed. Like, how much do you change in a relationship? Is that what that is?
There's certain
asking?
people I know.
Read it again.
I don't know. We're gonna go with that.
Okay.
There's certain people I know that I feel changed dramatically in relation. When you got married, you were one of them. I feel to an extent everybody does.
I mean, you have to, because relationships are all about compromise on kind of almost a daily basis and coming to an understanding. And I don't know, like, I feel like that's the hardest thing. Like, in relationships, for me, I'm stubborn. Ooh. Compromise is very difficult.
I'm great with compromise.
Yeah, so I feel like everyone will slightly change.
I'm great with compromise, but what do you give me that look for?
I'm just waiting. Go ahead.
I'm great with compromise, but I think that my biggest struggle now, not so much in the past, but now, it's been time management. Oh, okay. Because you have to figure out, okay, you got to spend time with this person, you got to do this, you got to do that. That's been the hardest part for me. The actual compromise is fine, but the time management's the harder part.
Yeah.
Cool.
And especially with your schedule and not knowing what city you're going to be in, what country you're going to be on.
It's hard. It is hard.
It's incredibly difficult to get that.
And then now sacrificing, having to blow off certain trips.
Yes.
So that's another thing. So I was supposed to be Justin's going to Austin this weekend. That was supposed to be my trip.
Supposed to be you, but yeah, okay.
But it's fine. I mean, I'm happy for the opportunity that he's getting, and it's great. But it's just things that you have to take into consideration of what you want in the future.
My thing is, when it comes to change, me being someone who's been a victim of change in a relationship, I'll say you have to be considerate of, well, not only their time, their wants, their needs, but also yours. I'm not saying to be selfish, but I'm saying to be self-considerate. Kind of remember that you don't want to lose yourself while growing into us. You still want to make sure that you have your own identity. So there are things that you like, things that you want to do, and moments in your life that you may need, like me time, etc. You got to make sure you keep mindful of those. You don't want to lose them.
Yeah, and that's the thing with compromise. One person can't always be the ultimate compromiser. It needs to be on kind of an equal level.
That's right.
Daniel, you offered up questions in the chat, and I think this one's directed towards you specifically. Cool. But I got to ask it. Daniel, what are your thoughts for people dating as single parents? My dad is a single parent and has full custody of me. And when he would date, things wouldn't go so well with certain people. So what do you guys say about that?
Yeah, indeed, I'm a single parent, and I do date. And yeah, sometimes it may not go well. I feel that a conversation must be had, but you have to make sure that when you are a single parent, you're clear about one thing. I'm not looking for a replacement parent. I already have that parent. That parent exists. What I'm looking for is a mate for me. Because sometimes that needs to be said, because there are people, when you are dating, they feel that, oh, that's what you're looking for, and I don't want to be that. And no one does. I don't want to be someone else's kid's parent. That's not what I signed up for. I signed up to live my life and do things that are for me. This child did not come from me. It's not part of me. Why should I care? And the truth is, single parents usually aren't looking for a replacement. They're looking for a mate. So that's the first thing you want to kind of make clear, I guess, when being a single parent. And then also, scheduling is very important. Because if you are connected to the other parent, you want to make sure that you're clear and transparent. Look, I'm going to be dating, etc., and kind of, you're going to keep the kid these days, or whatever that may be. Also, the last thing is making sure that you don't have other parent drama. They shouldn't be involved in your relationship. They only need to know of when your time schedule is of that person meeting your child. That's it. And as far as that's concerned, take some time. Don't just let everyone meet your kid, be a revolving door situation. That's not healthy for the child. So make sure that you do kind of take that into consideration. Give it a good time span. Myself, I give it a year. If I'm dating somebody, you're not going to see my child for a year.
I know. That's actually a great point, because there's a great topic of which I got into a discussion with over the weekend, where I was in a situation with the person I'm dating, and it was like that. It was that exactly. It's like, oh, you've been the only one to meet my.
Yeah. Oh, it's a big thing. It's a big thing.
But
does it depend, like the timeline?
But I'm a great guy.
Kid? Does it
Have to
depend on the
convince
age?
that-
Womp womp.
But does it depend on the age? Like, especially say the kid is 7. You don't want rotating
Right.
boyfriends, girlfriends,
I think
whatever
anyway,
the case
I
is.
think there's
But
a-
if your kid is like
If your kid's
20,
like, yeah,
Oh,
that's
no,
a
no,
couple
no, no.
ages for sure.
After 18, look.
it's open.
It's
yeah.
a free for all. I
Okay,
can have people
right?
rotating
So-
in and out, and the
but
kid's
see,
like,
that's the
"What are you
thing, it
doing?" Well,
depends-
what are you doing? You should move out. That's it.
But it depends on the kid, and it depends with like the parents' relationship and how open communication with your family is too, and then
true.
also knowing what their boundaries are and what your
Yes.
boundaries are, and relating that to the person you're dating.
Yes, because the thing is, as a single parent, the thing is, even though you are a single parent, sometimes if you have joint custody, you're not truly a single parent. You have that support system, or you should. And the thing is, you're going to have that level of communication. You have to have that dialogue. You have to be able to communicate to them that I am dating someone. So these things that you may be accustomed to are going to change as far as my availability, as far as my attention to some things, because now I am trying to focus on building something with someone else. So you need that time, and that person that is the other parent should definitely be open to that. If they are a horrible person, they will not. They will try to cock block every moment you get.
Yeah.
It's true.
a
And
fact.
that's not fair, because I need to be able to move on as a person that's choosing to. You can't hold me back, and you shouldn't hold me back. If they are, there's a lot of problems that still need to be discussed.
I think the most important thing is that this suit looks really good today.
It
Like the
does.
shirt,
It
the
does.
tie.
Now, what is the color again? You said it again.
What was it called?
Oxblood.
Oxblood.
I like
It's
it.
oxblood. So why is it oxblood and not like steer blood or
Oxblood has more of a richer, darker brown tones to burgundies.
vampire here? The connoisseur of colors.
Let's go to our next one.
Anyway, moving on.
Next question we have here. Let me see. Oh, actually, we have a special guest appearance for the answer for this question.
Oh, excellent. What's the question?
So the question is, should I be allowed to see his phone anytime I want? We'll make it equal for his or her phone anytime I want. We have a call-in. Let's see.
We don't have a call-in. We have a special.
Hello, hashtaggers. I'm in the car. Sorry, I hope you could hear me. I know the audio last week was a little funky town, but hopefully you guys could hear me today. Jordan's here. Going to the Grand Ole Opry. Anyway, so I wanted to answer one of the questions that you guys sent in, which is, should I be allowed to see his phone anytime I want? This question's a little, I know it's like a circumstance by circumstance like answer, but I really do think in my heart of hearts you shouldn't be allowed. Only because if you're in a loving, trusting relationship, there's no reason to check phones anyway, and if you're having that many doubts, then maybe there's something wrong in the relationship. So I think it's bigger than just checking somebody's phone. I think it's more along the lines of how much do you trust your partner? That's kind of my take on it. What do you think?
You on my phone?
I don't even know his password. You know, I mean, it's if you see something on their phone and it comes up and it makes you uncomfortable, I think it's okay to ask about it. I think there's no problem with that, just to make you, you know, kind of understand and feel better. But to just pick it up and go through it, I think if you have a loving, trusting relationship, that just causes more problems. And so that's kind of my take on it.
Or
Hope you guys understand.
Or if you're gonna go through my phone, then you have to be able to let your partner go through your phone as well.
That's true. If you guys want to do tradesies, then both of you are going to go look through each other's phones, and you just got to be okay with that.
I
But
wouldn't recommend it.
yeah, I wouldn't either. And typically, if you're looking for trouble, you're going to find it. So I kind of use the rule of thumb. If I love you and trust you, I'm not going to go on your phone. If I see something, I'm going to ask about it. But I'm not going to go through it. So hope that makes sense. Anyways, love you guys. Great episode. And I'll see you guys next week.
Jess.
So, like we said, Jess is not going anywhere. She is still right here at Hashtag Show, even though she's in Nashville, Tennessee. We did get a super chat in that time frame. Tom Craven, thank you so much. He's one of our writers here. Yay, it's Jess. Okay, let's talk about this. This is a great question. We got Jess's answer, and I don't disagree with it.
I do not.
But I do want to see where you guys stand on this. We'll start with you, Elle.
I don't believe in checking phones. I feel like if a good relationship is built on respect and trust, then there's no reason to. But kind of like she said, if you happen to see something, you're like, hey, that looks shady, I'm going to call you out on it.
I'm 1,000% with the two of you. I agree with you. I think that I'm the same way. I don't feel like there's. I literally have no problem giving somebody my phone and being like, hey, check it out.
Yeah, same.
But at the same time, it's kind of like, if you just trust me, that's fine.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like I have to prove that trust. But I agree with you. I'm 100% on board with that. And like you said, but if you see something shady, I'll say something about it.
Yeah.
But the truth is, you don't know if you're barking up the wrong tree. You don't know what that could be. But I'm with you. I feel like that whole phone thing, it's almost kind of like, I don't know. I feel like that it's a very private thing, and I understand that. So I'm okay with that. If you're in a healthy relationship, it shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, like at any point. And the thing is, I feel like where the mistrust will come in is like, can I see your phone? No. That's when the problem is. That's when the problem comes. Like if any guy was like, hey, can I see your phone? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with that.
I don't, please don't touch anything or post anything or like something you're not supposed to
Look at the
like.
porn that I already set to it. Hey, it's all right. Hey, just because you're on the diet doesn't mean you can't look at the menu.
Everybody knows when you know when
What?
you look
Is that a saying?
Yeah, that's a phrase.
What?
Just because you're on a diet doesn't mean you can't look at the menu. It's very true.
Oh, okay.
It's very true. But no, I agree with him on that. Where it's like, okay, hey, you know what? Just don't post anything, don't comment anything, you know, blah blah.
Yeah,
etc. But with that, there are 3 topics that come up immediately, and you're just, it's about trust, it's about jealousy, and in some ways, it's about control.
Sometimes it is, yes.
And those are 3 parts or 3 aspects of just how we think that you have to take into consideration. If you trust someone enough, you shouldn't have to worry about asking or looking for their phone. There has to be something happening in the relationship at that point that you even have the idea to say, let me look at your phone. What's the catalyst? And you have to ask yourself, if you know what that catalyst is, how big is it and what's the problem? Why are you fearing anything concerning infidelity or any of that?
And if it's a case, I feel like it's pretty easy to be like, if you see someone like texting in secret, be like, oh, who are you talking to? And I feel like the answer that you get will kind of be an indicator of how necessary it might be to follow up on your intuition.
Yeah.
But even at that aspect, it really becomes a security issue of like, if you're confident in your relationship, regardless of that person's talking to, if you feel like, all right, fuck it, like they can talk to whoever they want. I understand what you're saying. Like, I feel like if people can talk to whoever they want, but then at the same time, it's like, hey, there's a line. If you cross it, you're fucked. Like, I'm done. But that's just the way I literally got.
No, when you say if there's a line,
so let me tell you about an argument I got in over the weekend. This is just one.
Okay.
We were eating.
Ooh, girl, dish.
We were eating, and I literally said that, like, if somebody fucks me over, I'm done. Like, I'm out.
Yeah.
One time, one chance, that's it. I'm done. I'm out.
No, I feel like that's fair.
And it was like, well, you're not, like, you don't have an open heart. Like, what if they were really sorry? It's like, I don't
Doesn't matter.
Well,
You get
they
one
weren't
chance.
really sorry when they did it.
You only
So
got
it was
one
one of-
opportunity.
it was one of those things
No mom
where-
spaghetti for these
Yeah,
people.
It was one of those.
I
It was
love
one
it.
of those things where it was kind of like, you're very harsh on people, and maybe you shouldn't be as harsh on people. And I'm like, I am harsh on people, and that's where my life has gotten me now.
Yeah.
So it was a
honestly.
very like different scenario.
But I feel like it depends how bad the discretion, like how bad it was.
And that's what
If
she
you-
was saying. That's what she was
If
saying.
you cheated, absolutely no
That's what
more.
she was saying.
If you gave me a little white lie about something, it could be
Oh my god.
talked about
Well,
and
see-
being like, "This is why I was concerned.
And
This is why I worry."
That's the thing, though, when it comes to like secrets, lies, and omission. Like, I had a whole thing written down where it's like, secrets can protect and defend us. Lies are created to deceive, manipulate, and give you power. And then last but not least, omissions can be a mixture of both. And the thing is, with that, it's like, well, you have to figure out when your secret is something that you need to share versus when you should even think about lying. Because if you think about lying, maybe that's a problem.
See, I feel like lying is one thing because you deliberately.
Exactly.
Omission
You chose
is
to
something.
deceive.
Omission could be something like, I totally forgot. I meant, because like you have that all the time with friends. Like, I wanted to tell you, I totally forgot. You found out. I didn't want you to find out that way.
True.
You know, and it just happens. Like, conversations deviate and what?
Vodka did you have? Do you think?
I don't know. Enough to make me think.
Hey,
Right.
would you say that they were like, hey, nothing wrong with being harsh? Do you think I'm a harsh person?
No.
I didn't think so either. Am I a harsh person?
Yeah, you're harsh.
Well, no. All right.
Wow. See, that right there, that's you being harsh.
But I don't know,
It's
it's
also
one
you
of-
being very protective.
It depends.
By
Like,
saying
people are
no.
more forgiving. I think for me, it's not necessarily being harsh. It's just I know that every time I look at you, I'm gonna just see lies. Like, and I don't have time to deal with that. When I know there are trustworthy.
Hey,
harsh.
Blackwing. Blackwing says not, but if a girl calls me boring, I'm done with her.
Boring.
Blackwing, I'm just gonna let you know, man.
That is a has a.
Go ahead. I know you want to say it.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Joe.
You go on.
No,
This one.
Go ahead.
Do it.
Cool. All right, you're done with.
Oh
it.
my God! I thought
Maybe-
you were gonna say something else. Come on, don't lie.
Maybe sometimes you're boring. I would say they're like, I don't know, maybe that's a
Dude,
thing.
if a girl calls you boring and you happen to be boring, well, that happens. But if a girl calls
Well,
you
I
boring
mean,
and
maybe you're not boring to you, but maybe you're
Exactly.
boring to her. Maybe that doesn't
That's
work.
it.
That's fine. That's all right. But
What if she
Big
just
deal.
went up to you and was like, "You've lost my interest"?
I said,
Instead of saying you're boring.
that's right. During a conversation where you just look at them dead in the eye and she says
"Oh,
to you, "You've lost my interest."
It's so sad.
Ooh,
Dude.
I'm
You've
sorry,
unfortunately
you've
lost my interest.
That means I get to leave now. Consolation prize, and then someone shows up and starts talking.
I have done that. And also, there's another thing that I've done. I didn't know it was a bad thing. But you know, like when, like, let's say we're all together. I'm like, hey, I'm going over to Trader Joe's. Anybody want anything? Like, oh yeah, give me this. And I was like, man, I just was asking to be nice. I wasn't actually to get you.
get you something.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck what you wanted.
about it for
I'm
a
just
moment.
saying that. Like,
Think
I'm getting
about
out
it,
of
man. I'm
here.
not really doing that.
Just saying that to be
I
nice.
would like
Hey,
one
remember
more
that's why I
rotisserie
invented
chicken,
traveler's
please.
tax.
Huh?
Remember that's why I invented traveler's tax. Remember that?
Yeah.
That's right. I don't want to go and get anyone something, but if you're going to make me get something, P.S., I'm also going to buy something for
I
myself.
do remember being
and
super.
charge
I
you
do
on
remember
it
somebody
and
asked
call
me,
it traveler's
and I was being
tax.
annoyed. I said, "Come on, man! I was just asking to be nice. I didn't actually expect to get you anything." Anyway, let's talk about the rest of this. We're all in agreement of this.
Yeah, we're all in agreement. Final thoughts was, like I said, it's a conversation concerning trust, jealousy, and control.
Tom Craven says, by the way, Joe does look good tonight. Daniel got his lineup, and Elle, you have an adorable shirt.
I went back to being bald and bearded, black, bald, and bearded.
That's good.
Yeah, I like it.
Hey, red, blue, blur. Listen, I'm boring. I will show you boring. That's not.
I don't think you want to say that.
Nope.
I don't think you want to say
That
that.
is-
Because it immediately sounds like you're doing this.
All right.
Like you're like, I'm boring, I'll show you. Fire across the eye. You're going to be
Honestly,
seeing
that whole comment screams to me. You just got to meet somebody that shares your general interest.
That's it.
That's all it is. If she
And
finds you boring, then she's
excitement
not for
and
you. Yeah,
interest
yeah.
and
Exactly.
Wanting to.
Yeah. I mean, start looking within your own social circle. Maybe that may be a case.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it doesn't mean like the people that you actually interact with. It could be people outside that are still connected to. You may go to board game things or blah, blah. Find someone there that's not in the social circle, but within that area. It can work.
Hit us with the next.
Next question. Oh, how do I tell my boyfriend or girlfriend that they are too cold as a person? That's a really good personal one for me.
I feel like we saw that in Star Trek with Spock and Uhura.
Oh my God!
And she was
bravo!
just like, hey, why does it not look like you love me? You're just going to kill yourself in that volcano? Don't be a
That
dick.
is so true.
You know?
Oh my God, that's like a literal example
Yeah.
of being too cold, like being almost like separated.
But he wasn't like that because I've been called that before. Like I
Have you really?
I'm not
Whoa.
my family where we grew up.
Are
we're
you the
not-
Spock or the?
I'm the
Yeah.
Spock. Like
Oh,
we don't
please
show
share more.
We don't show affection. My family never says I love you. It is understood. You know. So like I don't say it. I'm like, why do you need to hear that from me? Like wow. I'm like you should just know.
See, now that's interesting.
I wouldn't
'cause
be
that
with
adds on-
you if I didn't love you.
That added on to a lot more that they were asking about earlier, where they were saying this whole thing about does upbringing affect as far as like
I think it does.
in relationships and everything
Yeah.
too. That's really interesting. We're going to talk about that in a moment. We'll put a pin on that. But
Yeah.
So okay.
Yeah, I
Because-
mean,
so you've
I don't
been
have
called
to say
cold.
it. Yeah.
Because of those like
Yeah,
particular
it's like,
things
why
like
would you
that?
never say you love me? It's like, do I have to tell you? Why don't you just know? Why would I be? If I didn't like you, I wouldn't be with you.
Okay, no. So the
Duh.
question is, the
People
question
they
is-
get all butthurt, and I'm like, oh,
see,
I'm
but
sorry.
this is the thing. That's interesting because there are individuals, once again, that most of when it comes to society, quote
Yeah.
unquote, people do require that kind of validation.
Yeah.
Like you think about it, that's why social media even exists. It's for validation.
It's true.
Hey guys, I like something. Do you like it too? I'm glad that you like that. I liked it. That's why people want to be
But I think that's my personality all around. Like, if you're on Instagram, and I'm not gonna lie, and you're following more than like 1,000 people, I'm gonna block you because you don't care about my content. You're following every which person that you want to.
Huh.
You don't need to follow me. Let me clear up your life and declutter for you. I'll be Marie Kondo. I'm gonna just block you.
Wow.
Like
You're pretty heartless.
That's interesting. No, she's
Like
pretty.
Kanye
She's
style.
pretty harsh.
You're pretty harsh.
Pretty harsh. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So Joe, what about you?
What was the question?
What would you do in the situation?
Oh, this question
would you
has
call?
lost my interest.
No, oh, wow, yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, Daniel. You lost my interest. If they happen to be too cold, how do you tell them that?
Listen, this is coming from me.
Or do you even tell
right?
them? What do you
like?
do?
I don't think I'm a cold guy. I'm actually a really nice guy if people actually get to know me. Actually, here's the deal, though. You'll probably never get to know me because I don't like a lot of people. But with that being said,
Bravo.
if you do know me and you become one of my friends, I'll be pretty honest with you. That can be considered cold.
Hell, I thought you were gonna spit it out. I was so
Josh says, does it spark joy? And it's like, I
Doesn't
wouldn't be
spark
with
joy.
you if you didn't spark joy.
But I would say personally for me, I feel that like to be cold to a person, like to me that shows uninterest, and at that point I'm done. Like I'm out. Like I'm like I know myself well enough to know when I mentally check out of things.
Yep.
So it's like if I'm being cold to a person, it's for a reason.
Yeah.
So that's the way I am.
I agree with both of you. In one point concerning, well,
I don't mean to be cold is like my interpretation of it. But if
can
I'm
you
being
change? Can you change? If the person tells you, okay, good.
Where it's
That's
just
it.
like,
I was like, if the person tells you, yo,
I
really
feel
need
like
this.
girls need that too, because once a month it's like you just need some extra love, and where it's like I'm insecure,
Yeah, because
and I
that's the thing.
just
I was
don't
like, it
feel
can be,
good,
it can
and
be bad
like
on both sides. You're like, okay, for example, if you are a woman and during that time, you're like, I do need someone to hold me and
hey, I just want a hug, like closer.
Yeah, but the
closer.
thing is,
it's like I'm laying on top closer.
Yeah, but,
like,
but the
I don't
thing
feel
is,
it,
he's understood. Oh, you're cold. You don't
Yeah.
need it. So
Yeah. But
That's
but
where
I
it
feel like
becomes
that's where
sketchy.
communication comes in too. Like if you can have a conversation about it and be like, hey, I'm
That's
not as mean as I am on the
That's
show.
also like a chemistry thing too.
Yeah.
that
Like,
is.
Yeah.
You got to make sure that person aligns with you.
Yeah.
So are you pro PDA or anti PDA?
I'm about
Good
it.
question.
To a
Like
certain
super
extent,
PDA.
I'm not gonna make out with somebody, but holding hands, maybe a kiss, whatever.
Yeah,
like that's fine. Yeah.
You're good.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
down
but
with that.
everything else, like, I'm gonna get too hot and heavy. You gotta do that on your own time.
No, for me, when it comes to me, a cold person, I personally have a story where it was like my most recent ex. She was definitely a cold person. Everyone could
was.
tell immediately. The first time everyone met her, they were like, "Wow, she's not for you."
The Ice Queen. We called her
Yeah,
Elsa.
there you go. Like literally, people were saying they called her the Ice Queen. Remember Wolf and Crane? That's where a lot of people met her for the first time. We had a party there and blah blah yada yada. And people were like, people literally were pulling me to the side and were like, "She's not for you." Like, they met her 5 minutes and they were like, "I don't think she's for you." That was interesting to me, and it was like, wow.
That's my birthday, actually.
Oh.
It kind of took a lot of things into
Hashtag no
consideration.
invite.
No, I'm sorry.
It's okay. I wouldn't come anyways.
Yeah,
Probably
you
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. I was like, it was after
This
it
year,
was after
actually, so my birthday every June is like the big hashtag show
Yeah.
party. It's also my birthday, but that's when the most fun happens.
it is.
Not
It
on
is.
New Year's, where you're trying to Zach Morris your way between two relationships.
Not while I was on the
We
show.
got another super chat from Poku Kid.
Oh, that's a good one.
Thoughts on never having an
You gotta have a
as
fight.
couple? That's not. You're not a real couple.
You gotta have a fight. You have to have one blowout fight.
What? Really?
Because you need to
Well,
know how
see,
that person gets angry.
you
I mean,
don't know-
maybe not
see, but
punching
the
and
thing
yelling
is,
and screaming,
I
but
do wonder what he considers a fight, because some people are like, a fight can be just simple disagreement for some people versus like all out, I hate you, blah blah, and doors shut and slams. And,
I mean,
I don't like that.
I don't like that.
But I like a
I don't
major
know.
disagreement where
Well,
you
so
have to
I
have
don't know
a,
what he considers a fight, but if we're gonna think about it, and let's say we're considering what is a fight.
if this like disagreement lasts more than an hour, you're in a fight.
hey, here's an. No, I'm all about that. Like
What's a fight?
I got into a fight this weekend.
Okay, so what do you consider a fight?
Where you have a disagreement where things aren't going either person's way, and then you have to finally come to a conclusion of like what was the crux of the problem.
So then, still an hour into it, then that's a
And
fight.
I was like a 2-hour argument.
no, but
Then
once an hour hits, it's
that's
about
a fight because I
okay.
feel
It's
like
not a time limit thing. It's more of a feeling thing. It's more of a like, listen, I feel I am right. You feel you're right. What's the middle? All right, let's figure this out. And if neither one of us can reconcile, then we can't get over it. But if we can find a middle ground, then sure, we're gonna be fine. But and that's what happened with me is we found a middle ground. We understood what was going on. But I feel that like some of that stuff's always gonna tug at you. It's not easy.
So a fight, you feeling both of you, a fight is healthy.
100%,
To actually say and
100%.
establish that it's a relationship.
Because at the other,
Without a fight,
you got to
you're
think
not
about one
really-
thing that a fight causes is that it opens up the lines of communication in an aggressive way. Other than that, it would be in a passive way or not at all.
Yeah.
So for me, I think that fights are healthy mainly because, yeah, it's gonna suck at the slightest at the time, but it's gonna open the lines of communication which you're either not used to, or it's gonna put you in the forefront and center of it. Whereas if you did it passively, or you did it Not at all. It would never just really be noticed.
And it strengthens like communication and understanding and finding out where that person is coming from, because it might relate to other issues where it's like, oh, I saw you were mad before, but you didn't want to bring it up. And it might all be rooted in one essential idea that they have that you're miscommunicating on.
I agree.
I like that. That's interesting. I mean, I'm thinking to myself, I don't know. I mean, congratulations if you haven't had a fight. That's wow as a relationship. But from what I understand, and I agree with you guys, when it comes to relationships, if you haven't had a fight, you haven't really tested the relationship. So you don't really know if it's fully there.
And it doesn't have to be physical. It doesn't have to involve
No.
screaming.
No,
It's
it
just
shouldn't
a
be.
disagreement.
Yeah.
It should
It's just a
not
disagreement.
be
That's
physical.
what it shouldn't be, actually.
One
Yeah.
thing, it should not
Oh,
be
yeah, yeah,
physical.
yeah.
If you ever get into a fight in a relationship and it happens to go physical,
should
the
never.
thing is, first off, you need to figure out who's the first one to go ahead and start it or incite it to be a physical fight, and then they need to be able to evaluate themselves, because you should not have to raise your fist.
Even if they
in any
spill
way.
spaghetti on a white carpet.
That's very true.
Did you get hit?
He has. It's been a few times.
Hey, so Red, this isn't a super chat, but Red Bullber asked, how do you tell a significant other they're bad in bed?
You should not say that in those terms. But I think you should suggest something positive of like, hey, I'd
is
really
where
like to
I
try
finally-
something.
I
Oh yeah,
finally
you,
get into this.
you
I
actually
finally
have
get
training
into
on
this.
this. You
I
go
have training
ahead.
in
You are not the coach. What do
That's
you call
right.
it?
Well, it's an intimacy consultant.
Consultant,
You
not
don't
a
want
coach.
to say
because
sex
you-
coach,
Because
but
he
yes,
doesn't want to be there.
it
Be
is
like, you
sex
can
coach.
do it. You
Yes,
can do it,
is.
goatee.
I am a sex coach. Yeah, but honestly, when it comes to that, ultimately, what you want to do is have an honest conversation, and you want to tell the person things that you're interested in, and you want to tell them things that kind of entice you or turn you on. That's what you want to do. So, like, for example, if you're like, oh, I like touch. Touch is the thing for me. You know, maybe that's the thing. I'm just saying. But maybe someone's like, I like touch. And that intimate touch is something that turns me on and will get me ready for anything else. Have that moment to say that. Don't be the person that's afraid to mention these things. I need to know what's going on. What are we laughing at?
Nothing.
No, keep going.
Go
keep
ahead,
going.
go ahead.
Okay. No, Al's turning red by it. I want
It's
to
a
know
vodka.
now.
It's a vodka.
No, I want to know now.
No, just go. Just keep going.
Oh, God. But anyway, you have to be able to communicate with your lover. I would definitely say that. If they are your lover, it's someone that you should feel pretty easy to communicate with. If you are not able to, that's something that you're going to really need to discuss also, but you're going to want to review on your own. You should feel that you have an open line of dialogue with them. So have that conversation, talk to them, let them know exactly how you feel and what you want. Maybe...
Yo, I don't want to hear that though. Like, I know that you are trained on this, but if a dude came up to me and is like, yo, you know, that was not satisfying,
See,
I'd be like, yo, what?
That's the thing. That's what I said. Tell them what you want. Don't tell them what they didn't do.
Like, I
don't
want
tell
more of
them.
this.
Don't tell them. Hey, you're really bad at giving head. Hey, you're really bad at kissing. Hey, you're really bad at blah blah blah. Whatever it may be. You don't want to do that. You approach someone like that. P.S. That means you're really bad at communicating, and maybe you shouldn't be in the relationship. But you want to take the time to be able to tell them, you know what I really like? I like when you do, or I've really been interested in.
Yeah,
blah, blah, blah.
yeah, okay,
These
okay.
things work.
Sorry, I wasn't
But-
listening. I was laughing.
No, sorry. No, these things work, and that's what you want to do. So
Gotcha,
that's how you want to
gotcha.
be as far as communicating with your partner, telling them things that you may have an interest in or things that you like. That's the answer.
What about you? What do you think about this question?
No, you're similar. It's just like, hey, I really liked it when you did this, or like, hey, I'd really like to try this. Would you be interested? You know, be like, all right, we could try it out, and be like, hey, like, and it has that like kind of way of approaching of like, oh, we're both new to this. And then you
let
can
me
have
ask
that
you another
conversation of
question.
like, let's tweak it this
Do you
way.
think you've ever
and
been
that
asked to do
way.
anything like sexually where it's kind of like, I'm not super comfortable with that?
Yeah, I've said like straight up no. I'm like, no.
Like, I'm not a big fan of threesomes, and I told them, like, listen, if I wanted to disappoint two people in the same room, I'd have dinner with my parents. You know what I mean?
Hey,
Like,
what? You said I had to do my
I would just have dinner with my parents.
Oh shit!
Like, that's exactly how I feel about that.
If I wanted to disappoint some people, I want to have dinner with my parents.
If I wanted to disappoint two people in the same room, when I have dinner with my parents.
That is the
there is
best
no reason.
line I have heard in forever.
So I feel that like that. There's a lot of things I want to do, and things I don't. You know what I mean?
Oh my god!
Let's move on to our next thing.
All right, next thing. This one actually will be pretty quick. I'm black and I'm.
That's what she said. Oh, producer Nagami got it. That's what she said. You gotta say that stuff louder. That's what she said.
Okay. I said this will be pretty quick. Our producer whispers. That's what she said. Really quick. Oh, God. Nagami is the greatest. I'm just telling you guys that now if you guys don't know. But, okay. I'm black and I'm interested in dating an Asian person, but
then do it.
My people will look at me a certain way if I date outside my race. What should I do? Simple answer, as she already said.
Probably more of a question for you, though.
Yeah, honestly, it is. I have, and the thing is, love is blind, man. And ultimately, it's your love. It's not everybody else's. If they can't deal with it, that's their problem. If you happen to be, for instance, well, you said in your case, you're black. I'm pro-black, and yet I can go ahead and date outside of my race. Being pro-black doesn't mean that you're anti-everything else. It means that you understand your importance and what you mean to yourself and to the community. A lot of people go crazy with the whole thing about, like, when you marry, it's some people have that whole idea of, oh, marriage is really political, and you're doing it because when you marry someone, it's more than emotional, and that's not true. Those people are idiots. Because they kind of do that whole thing where they think of when you marry, you marry that person's culture, that person's community, and their people. Yes, that is true. But you don't marry their perceived culture, their perceived community, their perceived people. You don't know who they hang out with. You don't know who they're hanging out with, where they're going, et cetera, et cetera. So take the time to realize that when you love someone, it's for your happiness, not for theirs. And if they can't see you for you, just because you're married outside of your race, these people were never there with you. They were not there for you. Go ahead and cast them out. That's my opinion. Anyone else?
That's fine.
I'm
As
with
long
you
as
with that.
yeah, I agree. As long as it's not some weird, like, if you're like fetishizing like that. That is different. And if your friends call you out on that, then I feel like that's fine because that's a weird thing.
Like, yeah,
but if you're genuinely interested in that person as a person, race don't matter.
New T-shirt idea, guys.
Which is?
Threesome. If I
if
I wanted to disappoint two people in the same room, I'd have dinner with my parents.
That's a genius T-shirt idea.
Let's go to the next.
Next one. Oh, this one was the only person that wanted to be recognized. Ladies and gentlemen, Red Blue Blur has a question, and it is: What is a good time to discuss moving in together or starting?
Oh, I literally had to answer this earlier.
Or starting to place items in your parents' home, or in your partner's home.
I've been talking about moving in with the person I'm seeing now for like a while. We've been talking about it for a little bit.
And how long are you approximately?
Well, we've known each other for 18 years.
Yes.
So, but we've been like dating for like 3 months.
Okay.
But we've been talking about it. Like, we've been talking about it a lot, actually. So, I mean,
Lease is ending. Just saying.
I think that that's one of those things where it's you just gotta know that that's what you want and where your future's going. I feel like that's a bigger conversation, though.
Yeah.
Because
for sure.
you have to know it's not just about moving in with somebody. It's about what you want to see out of that future and what do you want to see for the total package. I mean, my whole literally, I think the exact words that were used was like, you know, I can move in with you or you can move in with me. I know we got a super chat. Go ahead.
I know, because he just wants you to make that shirt.
I gotta move
And you know Larry will buy it. He bought all the shirts at Power Morphicon, so you will definitely have one buyer at least for that shirt.
That is,
True,
it's not a
true,
terrible
I
shirt.
agree.
I'm not gonna lie.
It's a great shirt.
But my whole thing with this was that I think that like she was like, I'll move in with you or you can move in with me, but is it going to be considered your place or my place? I was like, well, I feel like we kind of need to do something different and move in just at a different place and so it's considered our place.
Yeah.
So we've had this conversation about this and that's for that.
But I feel like while you're talking about a deeper conversation, is there a pretext of marriage and how long will you be living together before you reevaluate your living situation?
Yeah.
And what's going on?
For sure. I think that there has to be a pretext of like this is something pretty serious.
Yes.
Well, I feel that when you're even thinking about moving in, there are things.
Jordan says the Grand Ole Opry was insane though.
Oh really? Oh man! When you said it on there, I was sitting there like, oh my god, you went to the Grand Ole Opry. That's like the biggest thing ever. I'm jealous. I'm seriously jealous. But discussions need to be had when it comes to moving in. One, finances.
Yeah.
Who pays what? Yep. And what debt can actually ruin your plans if someone does happen to have debt. A lot of people do when it comes to like school and et cetera, et cetera. So you need to have full disclosure concerning finances. Also, when it comes to me time. people still do.
I'm a
want
big me time guy.
And yeah, you need to be honest with that. You need to have that discussion and kind of figure out exactly how
That
my
was a
me
part
time
of the
works.
argument.
See,
Of like
it's
just
important.
knowing that it was literally of just like, listen, I know if we ever got into an argument, like when you would come home, you would come back here, and it's like, yeah, but I understand. I personally need. I am a guy, and you guys know this, both you guys. I am a person that needs my own space.
Yeah.
We also do have another super chat. It's hard to move on with someone that. It's hard to move with someone that you could trust. I think it's the opposite, actually. It's hard to move with someone that you couldn't trust.
Yeah, I think that's probably what they're trying to say.
Yeah.
And with that, yeah, it's hard to move.
I miss you too, Jordan.
It is hard to move on or move in with someone that you don't trust.
Yeah.
And that's
I mean,
any living situation, even if you're just housemates. You need to move in with someone you trust because
Yeah,
you
but
need to
the
know
thing
that
is,
they can pay rent.
That's the thing. Why would you want to move in with someone you don't trust?
I mean,
Why would you want to move
Yeah.
on with someone you don't trust? You don't trust them. That's the problem.
and it has to be for the right reasons. It can't be like your girlfriend or boyfriend is like, I have nowhere else to go, and you might feel bad.
But you know
it's
what?
Like,
What's unfortunate, that happens.
it does,
quite often,
but
actually.
but then it's just one of those things of like,
My last
so how
one.
long are you gonna be here? When are you gonna get a job? That's where you have to put in the boundaries and be like,
Very
sure,
true.
you can move in here, but we're gonna have to reevaluate in 3 months. You have to get
true.
up on your feet in 3 months.
Very true. That's where it's like so many things still go into it, and it's like, well, like you said, there are boundaries. Like I have notes for the question where it's like it takes maturity, it takes communication, it takes emotional intelligence, it takes commitment, and it takes understanding boundaries.
Yes.
All of these things need to be taken into consideration when it comes to that whole idea of, hey, we're going to move in. And, like, still with that, there's still a list that needs to be had. Like we said, chores.
Yep.
Because a lot of people think,
That's
oh,
true.
chores
You know,
aren't a thing.
that is anytime you
much.
live with housemates, that is going to be.
Figure
big.
it
I've
out
already
or you will
discussed.
fight.
I know. I already discussed. I like doing dishes, so I'm fine with that.
Okay,
Like,
there
I
you
don't
go.
mind
So
it.
it's like if you're doing dishes, it's like that equal
Then
thing.
you
of,
gotta
I'm
vacuum
doing
clean
dishes,
or dust
who's-
them off
who's-
or whatever.
You gotta
no,
fold
if I'm
clothes or
doing
whatever.
dishes, who's cooking?
Yeah.
No, we
It's
already.
kind of like that. It's kind of
We've already worked that out.
See, there you go. So that's a good one. But then also, last but not least, there's schedules. You know, what if you're a night owl and they're an early riser?
We're
That's
about
true.
the same.
And social or professional,
is
those
true.
things come into
The
play.
hardest part about my whole thing is going to be the travel because I travel a lot
Yeah.
for work. So
And
that's
then
going to be the hardest part.
Also, an asterisk on it would be able to pick your battles. You don't need to win every fight. Just especially, you know, when living with that person, no one wants to live with their enemy. So be
But that's
able
what
to pick your
compromise. Like if
battles.
you have open communication and you're able to talk about things in a not super aggressive manner, then it should be fine.
Should be fine, but the thing is, we're dealing in reality where truth of the matter is when people tend to fight, when it's a fight, it's not going to end as quickly or easily as we expect it to. It's going to sometimes take a while. It's going to drag through. So with that, it's also going to be deep scratches in a short amount of time also. That can happen. So with that, sometimes you need to figure out, do I even need to have this battle? Is this something I really care that much about?
That's
Maybe I
true.
can just let it go.
That's true. I agree with you.
So
on that.
it's something to think about, especially when you do live with someone. It's you don't trust me. You don't want to live with your enemy.
Yeah, so I guess summing it up is just there is no time frame. It's just whenever both of you are ready and you have that conversation and set up some house rules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that it for the night?
Oh my God, we had 2 more good ones.
All right, let's get to them.
All right. How do I navigate being friends with an ex? Because we have the same social circle, we are part of the same board game group, go to the same comic book shop, share streaming codes. They want to know how do they
I'm
navigate
I'm
being
friends with
that
most of my
ex?
exes, so with the exception of like 2. I'm friends with most of my exes though.
I'm not
One
friends.
literally,
I'm amicable, but
one literally
I knew
sent
that
me a
about you. I remember we
message
talked about that.
about getting married and how much I meant to her and her life. Did I told you
Wait,
that?
what?
Right? I didn't tell you this.
I wasn't listening. What?
So one of my exes
You
that
weren't
was actually
interested in her.
pretty strong. Like she wanted. The only reason why we broke up was because I didn't want to get married to her,
Okay.
or I didn't want to get married. Period. At the time,
Yeah.
we broke up because of that, and she literally texted me maybe like a month ago. It's like, hey, I just wanted to let you know I'm getting married, but you mean so much to me. It's like a weird, like random text out of nowhere, and we're very close. I mean, we're still friends.
That's
But
good.
I'm still friends with most of my exes, with the exception of like 2.
Yeah, like if you break up amicably and it wasn't like things that were said that can't be taken back, like I feel like you can be okay with your ex, but same thing, like housing situation, you need to set up boundaries, rules of like, hey, if I'm dating someone, do you want to know? How soon should I tell you? Like, are we going to hang out? Are we going to text all the time? Like, you know.
It's true.
Just communication. Everything breaks down to communication.
It's true. I agree. I mean, well, but with that, it becomes a few questions I would have loved to be able to ask them, like, well, who broke up with who? Because sometimes that can be a situation. If you broke up with that person and they're still trying to force a friendship is something that shouldn't be forced. One, it should be natural.
Yeah.
When it comes to a friendship. So if someone's trying to force it, you've got to ask, what's their reason? What are they benefiting from it? And why do they want it to happen?
But also, I think that's such a natural thing because I even told one of my exes, I don't say not that long ago, but I told her straight up, like, listen, it might not have worked out for us, like, in a relationship, but, like, doesn't mean we can't be friends, and it doesn't mean that you don't have a value there. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's an important thing. It's like, there's people that are in your life. Maybe this wasn't meant to be a thing like this. Maybe it's meant to be a thing more like this. And
true.
And I think that
honestly,
that's the thing.
I am friends with every person I've broken up with, even in my most recent one, which was horrible because funny enough, going back to another question, I trusted them with a secret that they went and chose to tell the world after we broke up because they were like, oh, well, you know, oh, how dare you, blah, blah, you break up with me, you hurt me, I'm going to hurt you. Hurt people hurt people. That's exactly what they do. So she went ahead and broadcasted, well, she went ahead and broadcasted that I was bi. You know, and it was like, well,
Yeah,
I wasn't
like,
bi with you.
Every person in hashtag show got that text message.
Yeah.
And it's like, what the fuck is going
like
on?
she
It's
went
crazy.
and tried to
And nobody else
scorch
knew.
Earth. No one else knew. No one else knew. Scorch Earth.
It was rough.
So
That was
she
a
knew,
dick
funny enough,
move.
she knew one thing she couldn't do was text my mother, my brother, blah, blah. Because if that happened, I'm sorry to say it, she would have come up missing. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
She would have come up missing. One thing you don't do, you don't fuck with my family. And that would have been like, well, now you're missing.
That was a crazy
That
night,
would have been
actually,
it. Yeah.
that I got
But so
received
she
that text message.
did it all over social media. Still, my mother
Well,
ended up finding
social
out,
media,
blah, blah.
what kind of horrible human
She
being
wouldn't
is this person?
tagged like hashtag show in the post.
Hashtag showing the post. And then so we had a conversation about it. I tried to
You
be
are
chill.
still friends with this person. You are forgiving.
See, this is the
bless
thing.
your heart,
We
sir.
had the conversation about it, blah, blah, yada, yada. Oh my God, how wrong I was, etc., etc. Then she goes on like the whole apology tour and tells everyone how sorry she was and blah, blah, etc., etc. And all that stuff. So, but the thing is, it was like, okay, I see what she needed. As far
Jessica
as
says, I didn't get that
all
text,
these
but it's
things.
whatever, Daniel.
Jessica didn't get that.
I think the people that got it, like, it was
No, she
me,
knew.
Josh, JD. It was all the men. And
yeah,
there was a
yeah.
couple of the girls that got it, too.
I think Kelly got it.
Kelly, it might have been Kelly. It was like another person, but like, I think Jasmine at the time got it too.
Yeah.
But all of us got it.
Yeah.
And I remember being at
huge.
dinner with other people, and they were like, "What's going on?" And I had no idea because I didn't know what was happening.
Yeah.
And I was like, "I have no idea."
have no idea.
And then I remember, I think I talked to maybe JD or Ernie first. I don't remember.
Ernie was.
It was one of the two.
He was on it like.
Oh, JD,
don't worry,
Jasmine,
I've taken
and
it
Ernie.
down, I've taken this down. I've done this. I've done it. He was like.
Because it was on our
damage
page
control.
first, so he
Yeah.
had to take it down. And then I remember calling him, and he was like, "Listen, it is a situation." But the thing is, which was super weird, is because all the time that she was accusing him of everything is I was hanging out with you. We were going. My car was in the
Exactly.
shop, so we were picking up my car. It's like, this isn't a true story, though.
Yeah, like,
it's not like a
what?
factual
Yeah.
thing that happened.
Yeah, her whole thing became a whole thing, and she was like, and I walked in on him and blah blah. And I was like, that never.
Yeah, because the day she accused him of all that stuff, I was like, "But we
I'm
were
with
picking
you
up my
right
car."
now.
Yeah.
I'm with you right now, and she just said it. And it was
Yeah.
like, I just walked in on him, blah blah. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, because I
All
remember
right.
he had
You know,
yeah.
like a liar.
It was
My
like,
car was in
yeah.
the shop, and he had to go pick it up with me or something. And I was like, "Oh, that was that day." And I was like, "That didn't happen."
I wouldn't say friends. I'm more associates. You know.
That
You know,
that
the thing
is
is-
forgiveness. That's
Well,
something that
it's-
I can't do.
Honestly, because I doubt she's watching this episode, keep your friends close, your enemies closer. And the thing is, I need to be able to watch exactly what happens, because at any moment I may need to bring the hammer down. So, you know, I just pay attention. That's all. That's all. I'm a nice guy. I smile, but don't let my smile fool you. I will murder you. So, that's
I'm
just
not a
my
nice
life.
guy, so when
That's
I do
my
smile
life.
at you, know you're dead. All right, let's go to the
But
next one.
question. Okay, this is a really good one. This is very. My girlfriend is a cosplayer and is very supportive of my
Oh, this is
passions,
what I was
and I'm supportive of hers. My issue is that she is starting to dress more sexual and getting more attention, and now telling me that I don't need to be her handler at any more of the cons. I'm worried about our relationship. What should I do?
This is just like the Ranger Nation.
I actually think you should answer this
It is,
question.
but it's
I'll
even
tell you
more.
why.
It gives us more info.
Because I'm on one side of this coin. I feel like you're on the other side of this coin. Not in terms of our views, but in terms of where we kind
would
of are.
stand like
Yeah.
where it's
Well,
like
no, not where we would stand even, but where we are in life. Like, because I've been on one side of that coin. Kind of on one side of that coin.
Yeah, you
You've been
have.
on the other side of that coin.
I don't believe it. This is a question I thought that you were kind of addressing earlier.
Oh no,
before we
and
get to
this
preview, but
is where it goes back to what you said before.
yeah, where that's bullshit.
I agree.
That is 100%. Like, you're not getting paid for this. Having a boyfriend or not having a boyfriend doesn't increase or decrease your cosplay skills. And if you think it'll get you more likes because you are single, then you are shallow as shit. Get out of here.
So I agree with
that
you.
mic.
So I would love to use Kelly as a great example. You too as a
yeah,
great
good
example.
one.
Is that both of those girls are cosplayers. Both of you girls are cosplayers. You both cosplay. But Kelly's in a relationship she's been in for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like anything's changing in that relationship where she's being like, Adam, don't do this, don't do that. She doesn't care about the attention. She cares about the artwork that she's doing.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between cosplayers that care about their artwork and what they're doing and cosplayers that just want the attention. Now,
Yeah.
on the flip side of that, I've dated cosplayers that just wanted the attention. I've never been in a position where it's been like, oh, don't do this. Honestly, the
I
reason...
feel like you wouldn't care. You'd be
Well,
like,
I think the
whatever.
reason I dated these cosplayers wanted to date me to an extent is because of
Exposure.
yeah, but it's one of those things
That
where
is shallow. Like there,
It is.
I can go on a tirade about this because I feel like
You should!
cosplay
Go!
game has changed so much in recent years with like advent of like
Lewd
Instagram
cosplay?
and lewd. Screw yourself. You think you're Link because you got some elf ears on and wearing some green panties? Nah, get out of
Thank
here.
you!
You ain't got no Master Sword. You ain't got no Triforce on. You ain't Link. You are just selling yourself.
Just a hoe!
Like,
I'm just
especially with
saying it.
Patreon, where you make people pay for you. No, like I can see
No,
there are some people out
but-
there that's like, hey, I want crafts, like I want foam, I'm gonna use this money for stuff. But when you are selling your naked body, like,
Well, no.
that
See,
is-
but the thing is, once again, I'm saying, hey, if you are a lewd model, just take advantage of the fact that you are a lewd model. Don't go ahead and put it under the guise of cosplay.
Yeah,
Say that
that's
you are a
fine.
lewd model. That's your thing. But as far as wanting to be able to be a lewd model, a cosplayer, and then tell your boyfriend, hey, I need you to move off to the side, nah. Come on, man. It doesn't matter.
Look.
Trust me.
And
When
like
guys are
girls-
looking at your picture to go ahead and beat off to, they don't care about your relationship status. So you don't have to cover it up.
and that's true. And I just feel like I'm always on the fence about this too, because I feel like women, it's like, hey, if we're gonna be objectified, why don't I make some cash? And I want to be like, you know what? Go ahead.
I'm with that. Yeah,
If you
I'm
want
all
to
with that.
exploit it, by all means do that. But I also feel like there's a thing between exploiting your sexuality and then also because cosplay becomes like a pop culture phenomenon. Like if you have all of these followers and you have young girls that look up to you, I see 16-year-olds that are starting to do like really scantily clad things and trying to get attention that
Because
these
it's-
older cosplayers because they're like my
I
role
agree.
model does it.
That's what I
And
see.
I don't know how
Exactly.
to balance my own ethics and morals against like girl power. And I feel like it boils down to, hey, I'm gonna post this to like raise my self-confidence because other people liking it. Well, I'm like, dude, self-confidence is from
Let
yourself.
me just
You're
tell
doing
you
it
right
for the
now.
wrong
Let me just tell you right now,
Reason.
Elle, you have
Balancing
so
it.
much support in this chat room right now.
Really?
Red Blue Blur, Stephanie Storm, Blackwing, Jessica, Arturo. So many
My
people are
God.
supporting you.
But that is so interesting.
But it's-
because
but
the
that's
thing
why I
is,
don't really
when you're
cosplay
saying about
anymore.
the whole thing, I didn't think about it that way. How being able to balance the whole thing of girl power versus
But there are some people
objectifying
that's
and
like
ruining it.
fleeting fame. Like, oh, people like me. I got 300 likes on this thing where I showed my tits. And I'm like, is that really how you build your self-esteem? Because you're doing it wrong. It
Well,
doesn't
look,
come from other people.
There's a girl
No.
that's I don't know what to call her, a legend here. Because legend might be the wrong word.
Popular.
Okay, popular.
That might be the
cosplay.
wrong word too if we discuss her in this certain
okay,
way.
all right.
There's a girl here, and not that's in hashtag show, but she's associated with us that knows us, and she's a cosplayer.
Oh.
Who we accused Jessica of hooking up with, but
Yeah,
she
yeah, yeah, yeah,
we don't know if it
yeah,
happened.
yeah,
But she's a friend of mine as well. But it's one of those things where it's kind of like, oh, cool, you're a cool girl, and you have great cosplays. But then it's like, okay, well, now I want to enhance my body. That's fine. You can do whatever you want to make you feel self-confident. But now it's going to be like, oh, now I'm going to do these kind of like Patreon things. Now I'm going to do this like boudoir thing. I'm going to do all this stuff.
She got to pay for the bills.
And then I understand that. But then it's like, but then don't for me, it's kind of like, then don't claim that you're still a cosplayer if this is what your thing is.
Because it's not cosplay when you just wear a bra and panties. You
Well,
gotta put
call
effort
yourself a
into
lewd
it.
model.
Yeah,
and
that's
just
fine.
run with it. Who cares?
Like, see, I'm fine with that too, but I don't know. Like, the cosplay game has changed, where it's just like, and I feel like all girls, especially like just when it was just Halloween and cosplay wasn't a pop culture thing, every girl goes through that slutty.
Let me ask you a
Halloween
question.
costume
So
phase.
let's talk about Halloween. I want
Okay.
to talk about this for one quick second.
Yeah.
There's the costumes like the slutty witch, slutty cheerleader.
Yeah.
That's very derogatory.
Yeah.
But it did set the precedent for what cosplay is.
And that's the thing too.
wow.
Where I feel like on a personal, everyone is different. Because I know some people that are just like, I'm going to do it. I don't care. And, you know, that's fine. But a lot of people are doing it for likes, and they think they're going to get Instagram famous, or I don't know what you get for being like a great. You get to judge competitions. Cool story, bro. But like, nobody really cares. Like old school cosplay, you do it because you like the characters, and people that cosplay that don't even know who the fuck they're dressing up as. I'm like, why are you
now
doing
it's like,
it?
why are you doing it?
It's a different
It's
scenario
fan
now, I
service.
think, for us too, because I mean, cosplaying, I feel personally, is so oversaturated
Yeah, now,
with,
yeah.
with so much happen. I think that like, if we were talking 10 years ago, it's a different story. But right now, since everybody does it, it's not as special as it was. But not just that. I feel that something like me, and this is the truth, to be honest with you, if you guys see me at a convention, it's a rarity. I don't go to conventions because we're in a position, all of us are in a position now, where if we do something wrong, it's a public thing. And I don't go to conventions specifically for that, because I don't want to even be a part of that. Like, oh, well, something would, I don't even want to put myself in that kind of like atmosphere where I won't do it. So I'll do my things that are very self-contained. If you guys see me at a convention, just know I feel safe there. But it's the same way as girls would feel safe at a cosplay convention in terms of getting a costume like that. I feel the same exact way, just a little opposite. I don't want to be accused of anything like that. So I would just keep myself out of it.
You don't have to worry about being accused if you didn't do anything wrong.
You would think that. But I think that if you would think that. But I know in the position that I am, if I shake somebody's hand the wrong way or say something the wrong way, that's done. So I just put myself out of that situation altogether.
Interesting. I don't think you should. Maybe because I'm
See,
not
that's
in that.
interesting.
I'm not in that position, and I do think it is a sexist thing where men get accused.
You're right.
I feel like women almost never have this issue, and it's not because we're not naughty. Like we objectify people. Not
Yeah,
gonna
true.
lie.
Everyone does.
But it's just like it is one of those things where I could be like, "Damn, you look hot," and girl takes no offense. You say the same thing to that girl, she'd be like, "What the."
Well,
You know?
now you're
Yeah.
yes.
That's why I
So
don't
it
do
is
it.
a double standard.
I don't
There
go
is
to
a
the
double
parties. I don't go to like. I just do my own thing. I'm not really about that life anymore. You know what I mean?
But it is one of those things where you're right. It
No,
is
I'm
a-
fine with that. I love the life that I have.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry so much about doing all the other stuff. Do we have any more? We're done?
No, that's actually it.
But
We ran through all
your
those
girl
questions.
should not. I don't know.
Yeah, right. No, go ahead.
Yeah, I just feel like if your girl's doing that to you,
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me, man.
you're
'cause
not
I'm
really
like,
in a good, healthy relationship, because it should not matter.
It's once
and
again,
if she's
it's-
more concerned with other people than you, and you are the relationship person, like they're, man, priorities are
like you
messed
said,
up.
it's like that man.
Yeah.
It literally is like that man. It's like there's no contract, especially when you're cosplaying,
Yeah.
that says, "Hey, you have to look single to the public." No, like I said before, trust me, those guys aren't worried if you're single or not when they're appreciating your pictures.
Yeah.
They're not.
It doesn't matter.
So it doesn't matter to them. So
It's like
it shouldn't
watching an
matter.
actor or actress. If you know they have a significant other, they're still I mean, it's still a thing, right? It doesn't really
Heck
matter.
yes.
That's it.
Like,
That's it. Yeah.
People love Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man. Guess what? That dude's been married for a while.
for
you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter.
years.
Or even Jason Momoa. And
Sure.
Lisa Bonet,
There you
like,
go.
Lisa
Lisa
Bonet.
Bonet.
They have a beautiful
That's,
relationship.
that's a good one.
I think that's a great. I mean, that's a great point. Like, I think that
he's
that's one
still
of those.
just as hot.
Oh,
I mean, it's one of those things where it's like,
oh my
man.
God, he's an example for the exes too.
All right, we got it.
Sorry.
It's John Krasinski and Emily Blunt. It's another one of those
Boom.
things,
Love
right? So I think that there's a ton of relationships you can say that about. Cosplayers that use that as an excuse, it's just
That's
bullshit.
some bullshit.
Yeah, it's BS.
Get out of here.
By the way, there's going to be a show where I'm going to be on with a bunch of cosplayers talking about certain situations that specifically like this.
Interesting. At WonderCon?
Nope.
Oh.
No?
It's going to be right here, I believe. And
At
it's
the
going to
Comic
be
Bug
like
in
at a
Redwood
round
Beach.
table with me and cosplayers just
Interesting.
talking about their
We're gonna have our own red
experiences.
table.
It's going to and we're going to be talking about like
Well, tune in for that coming up.
I know,
in
my
the
God, I
future.
want to see this.
we might put you onto it because you're a cosplayer technically.
Well, not in. Well,
All right.
You won't be in college.
That's going to do it for us right here on Quest for Player 2. This was a fun episode. Thank you for for welcoming me back. But we have a lot of super chats to get through tonight. Maniac, thank you so much. Tom Craven, Toko Kid, Larry Newbill, and Javier Jr. 316. You guys are all amazing. And we want to do this again next week because this was a lot of fun.
This was.
We don't know what the subject's going to be.
Dude, I think there's still a lot of questions still blowing
If you have any
I
questions,
think you guys have some.
send them.
Oh my God. Stephanie Storm wants to Skype in, so you can Skype in next week. We also want to thank our co-host in Nashville, Tennessee, Jessica Heidenreich. She's gone physically, but not forgotten. She's still here, a part of the show. So she'll be commenting on some of the stuff that you guys have as well. But we are going to be here each and every week talking about your relationship advice. And you can catch the three of us, at least the two of them this Sunday, on Power Rangers, the Retro Ranger wrap-up.
That's right.
That's a lie. I won't be here.
You're not
no,
here
she's
either?
not going to be here. No.
Neither am I.
I'm going to try to bring in Jezzer.
All right. Well, that makes two of us.
All right. You will catch the
You'll
BSG.
catch me. Yeah,
the
right?
purveyor
Exactly.
of petty.
Yeah, we are going to be
got you.
we're going to be here next week hopefully next week and talking about more relationship stuff. Guys, thank you so much for this turnout. We want you guys to share this video on all social media, on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever it may be that you can get that out there. If you tweet it, we will retweet it.
That's right.
From us and our own personal Twitters if we use Twitter. I use
Last
Twitter.
super chat.
Boom! You do have one last. Go ahead.
Matthew Thompson, I loved your Mario picture. Oh,
Oh,
thanks.
yeah, that's right.
So there you go.
March 10th.
I loved it as well. But we're getting into March Madness. We're gonna probably do more of your guys' questions for next week because
We love them. This was one of the better
great.
conversations.
This
I like
was.
this.
It flowed really well. But that was a really weird sentence. But that is gonna do it for us right here at that hashtag show. I am joined by
LT.
and
Daniel.
I am Joe. But please hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Stay up to date with everything trending.
In
geek pop culture.